I know, dude.
Poetic justice is cut Pete.
It's like you guys don't relate to each other. We'll relate to each other.
Segregated stage.
It is a segregated stage. I realize this. It's like, so you guys, there's going to be two conversations.
No, that
going
shows
on.
you how racist we all are. We didn't even think of it that way.
No. You know, this is why affirmative action exists. Because
the back of the bus.
It's the cool section over here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, it's all the Jordan section, right?
Yeah,
It's the Jordan section.
Yeah.
We're the hey guys section.
Yeah, we're the hey guys section.
Mayonnaise.
So, we're all teachers, guys. This is my first year teaching. So, do you guys remember your first year teaching? There was like a post-traumatic stress flashback to where it's like flashing back to Vietnam. The first year is the craziest. Would you agree?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, because we were just talking about this, how they give you that key on the pat on the back and the go get 'em tiger, and it's like you're not even prepared to deal with 30 prepubescent humans. They're trying to figure out what they're doing with their lives.
Yeah, 100%. Because I've always heard middle school is the craziest. Is that true?
I think so.
Yeah.
It's you got to run the gauntlet. Like middle school is where you cut your teeth, because you got to imagine. For me, I teach English language arts, and I can't imagine that teaching 11th grade humanities to some kid that's trying to go to Berkeley is more difficult than teaching 8th grade English language arts to some kid that just wants to go to nutrition in the next 5 minutes. Yeah. And wants to get right back to his cell phone and his Snapchat.
So Kip, I got to ask you, since we're all talking about first year teaching, how much of that you learned for your teaching credential applied in your first year of teaching?
That's such a loaded question, right?
How much actually did you think you used?
Classes, so I do want to hear this. What do you actually use?
Before I answer the questions, tell them how many days of school that you do every week.
Oh, dude, I'm going to school 5 days a week. So I teach drama, and then I'm obviously like you guys. I'm there till like 3:15, and then I'm also going to college 5 days a week. And it's so hard to know whether they're actually scamming me, because they're like, you got to become intern eligible. Is this a thing?
Yeah, I guess
okay. And so I was like, oh yeah, okay, because everything in education is jargon, so you just have to agree with it. It's like, education, we speak in jargon. Would you say that the postmodern, systemic, isotopic thing, like professional development, and you're like, I don't know what you're saying.
Yeah. So your teacher credential is kind of like learning to swim without getting in the pool, right? We're going to draw diagrams on how to swim, and they're going to show you a video on how to swim, but you're never going to learn how to swim until you get your ass in that water. Yeah. That's literally how it works.
You got to get beat up a little bit.
You're going to get beat up a little bit.
You get jumped,
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It's like pledging.
Yeah. So Zoe is actually
Would you
not.
touch?
I'm a Kappa.
Oh, Kappa.
Yeah.
Cool.
Wait,
That's
were you
why
in a
you guys are
fraternity
saying
too?
Nah.
Oh,
My mom's a Delta. I grew up just like from my house growing up. There's Delta stuff all over. There's elephants. It's like a gang.
Yeah, it is.
It's like, they got signs.
See, I was Sigma Alpha Epsilon. Literally, Barbara Walters said they were a gang in khakis.
Oh, wow.
Well, they kind of are, because you guys make people, like, you basically jump people in.
Okay.
You guys are.
I can't
golfers
reveal
that jump
all the
people.
secrets.
No, it's not that bad. Just welcome you. It's a little test, though. A little journey. But it's a lot of benefits.
Yeah, so Zoe actually does elementary, which is pretty cool.
Elementary school?
Yeah, he does elementary.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
How do you deal with runny noses and he peed on themselves and he bit me?
Yeah, I'm sick every week.
Oh,
I'm sick every week. Yeah, but
sounds terrible.
Yeah.
Sounds like a fever dream. Hell no.
It's a lot. It's a lot. And I'm over probably 700 kids. Ooh. Yeah, so it's a lot.
Yeah, it's crazy. So he works with like a bunch of different schools and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So he goes around and
that's
like,
right.
you know,
That's right. I'm running the program. That's dope.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's interesting because it's like your first year teaching, because I was a sub before this, and like subbing is kind of crazy because it's like they just shine like the bat light, and then you just it's like accepting missions in Grand Theft Auto.
Right.
You know what I mean? They're like, do you accept? It's like, where is it?
Mission Impossible.
Yeah,
If you choose to accept it,
yeah, they accept it. They shine.
Done.
Yeah, they shine the thing.
For me, it was a little bit different because I'm a teacher's kid. So like I grew up in the classroom. right? Like,
Did your mom discipline you like she did her students? Was she like, I'm
well,
going
I
to
had a
review-
black mama, so I don't know what.
You got your butt spanked.
Like that old like timeout. Like, I distinctly remember going to like when I moved in Brooklyn, where I'm from. It was just black and Puerto Rican, right?
Yep.
And both of those cultures are island cultures, so they're very similar. And moving here, I only saw white people on TV, like. Or there was Jewish people there too, but that's the different flavor of white.
Yeah, it's a different flavor.
Off-white.
It's like tart white.
Yeah, it's
you
a
know what I
different
mean?
kind of white.
Yeah.
It's
There's like a little bit of
different
sprinkle.
White adjacent.
But be careful though, because you know.
Yeah.
But I remember distinctly having a friend who threw a tantrum in front of his mom, and I was just waiting for her to kill him.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, I was waiting for the violence to come.
Yeah.
You know, I was like, where's the violence? And it never showed up. I was like, holy shit, is this what white people do?
Yeah.
They
We
talk
can't
to
tell
them.
you. Our Chris and I have our own secret code. It's like when two black dudes see each other and do the head nod. We
Oh,
look
yeah.
at each other.
Instant.
Oh.
Yeah.
I see you right there. What's up, man?
Nah, it's a check, right? It's like,
Yeah. Like, what's up? We good.
Yeah.
we in this
good.
together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, that's actually how I knew when I was a teacher teaching subbing in South Central that the kids had accepted me there. Is when I started getting the head nod.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm getting the head nod?
You made it. Yeah, you made it.
And I pulled a one kid aside and I was like, dude, why are they giving me the head nod? He goes, because you understand the struggle, Mr. D. I was like, I understand the struggle. Thank you.
Well, so quick question, because one of my best friends, his mom's a teacher too.
Mhm.
Was it hard for you with your mom being a teacher at the school? Because that's a lot of kind of like, oh, your mom is so cool, da da da.
No, so I never attended a school where my mom taught.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
but
that's good then,
we're
yeah.
from Bedford-Stuyvesant. We're in Bed-Stuy, so the neighborhood where we grew up is actually kind of small. The
Okay.
area where we were, like Boys and Girl High is over there, PS21 is over there.
Okay.
So, and my mom, I grew up in a neighborhood, and the kids that I played with, their parents were the kids that my mother played with because my
okay.
great grandparents were like the first black people on that block.
Okay.
So
nice.
yeah, it's like a tribe.
Okay.
Basically.
Okay,
So,
for sure.
no, I wasn't in their class. But back in those days, when they had regular phones, I remember doing something in class. I was mouthing off or something. And the teacher looked at the roll and was like, Thompson. And then she called my mom in the classroom.
That's crazy.
Right? And this
front
is,
of you?
yeah, she
Yeah.
she was real quiet. She was like, okay, all right. And she went and called me. I was still like throwing paper or something. And then, like, if my mom was here right now, she would deny this. She would
Yeah.
say it never happened, right?
Absolutely.
So what happened was she called, and the teacher looked at me like, okay. And she hung up the phone. Recess was over. I'm chilling. I'm settled down. My mom came in that classroom like the Wicked Witch of the West, right? Like,
Yeah.
that's an old school Wizard of Oz reference.
Oh, I
Yeah,
saw
no,
I know Wizard of Oz.
You look at me, you like,
He's a drama teacher. You know?
oh, he's a drama teacher.
I'm a
My
drama
bad.
teacher,
My
too.
bad.
That's all we do. We do scenes from Wizard of Oz.
He just did that play.
That's the kid that said it was a beta male script. It was Wizard
Beta
of
male.
Oz.
That's the beta male
That's
script.
the beta
yeah.
male script.
But like, you know, that's back when you could beat your kid's ass and not go to prison, right? So
Yeah.
she whooped me in the classroom, and I was a perfect little angel after that. And then she went back to work.
Yeah.
I witnessed that in
She
school.
didn't-
My best friend got his butt whooped by his mama in school in front of everybody.
In front of everybody.
Dude, were the teachers just like, was it just teachers just
Yeah.
doing their job?
She was just there, like, okay, cool.
And being on the receiving end, like going to school the next day, you be like, you better not act up, I'm gonna call your mama.
Yeah.
I was like, oh
Exactly.
man, you just be quiet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bring it back.
Sometimes you want to.
We need to bring that back for sure.
Dude, sometimes these kids, they will stress you out so much to where, like, the other day, I could feel, like, my eye doing that thing. You know that thing where your eye just does that? I'm like, dude, these are like, post-war effects.
Yeah.
This is crazy.
Yeah, I mean, especially the first year teaching, you're experiencing things for the first time.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
once it's like getting in the pool, right? When you first get in the water, it's cold.
Yeah.
But then you get acclimated and you don't feel the coldness anymore. And this is just the routine. This is just you going through your cycle of whatever the year brings to you. Like this,
Absolutely.
I'm not really surprised by what my students bring to me anymore. I mean, that's not true. Last year I had a kid, and she always had some strange animal in her backpack.
Like a real animal?
Yeah, like an animal. Like,
And it was, wait, some strange, like, there was a variety
it was
of
like
them?
the one day it was a praying mantis. The next day she had a turtle.
Wait, was this like the pigeon lady from Home Alone, but with just
No,
different
she was
animals?
just
Okay.
a very unique little kid. It might have been 2 years ago. Darcy knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yes. sweet kid, but I was like,
Uh-huh.
what the fuck are we doing? Like,
Yeah,
why is there
yeah.
a gerbil in your
Why do you have a
backpack?
fucking rat in
Yeah,
your,
what
in
are we
your
doing here?
Jurassic Park backpack?
Yes.
Yeah.
Did you met a parent? Did you understand once you met a parent? What she had?
I never met her parents.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, never met her
Would she be
parents.
the mom?
Man, so
Yeah, how many animals did it take for you to finally address it, the fact that she's bringing animals in?
You're like, I'll let this one slide. And then
Yeah,
you
the
run
first
it.
one, you're like, okay, whatever.
no, she was really cool about it.
Okay.
She wasn't like she had her little praying mantis running around the classroom. She was like, "Look, Mr. Thompson." I was like, "Really? Like, is that what we doing?" Like, all right. But so, have you had your first parent teacher? What did you think of your first
parent
parent
teacher
teacher
conference. I was surprised how many of the kids and parents acted alike.
What?
Like that, you know,
That's
like
a surprise.
well, you know, like it's like the kids eating purple crayons
For the first time,
You know,
that's
like the
kinda
kids.
Oh, yeah,
eating
true.
This is my first
Yeah,
time, dude.
yeah.
The kids are eating purple crayons, and the dad's like, "I don't see what the problem is." You know what I mean? Eating purple crayons. I was like, "Sir, you got it in your teeth right there." You know.
Chris, what was your first parent teacher conference like?
Oh, I was just wondering which ones were the single moms.
Bro,
I'll be honest. I'm honest.
That's the best. That's the best. Yeah.
Sigma, yeah, Sigma male over there. Sigma male.
a part of me felt like I'll neither confirm nor deny that I felt the same way. But when I first started teaching, I was 25 years old. So
Oh my God.
I was like, oh yeah, she ain't. Oh, he ain't got no daddy. Okay.
I'm about to come up. I'm about to come up. Call his mom just to be like, her voice sounds hot.
Right? No, but when you finally see, it was like, wait a minute. And every once in a while, a mama will walk in your classroom and be like, okay, I'm gonna remain professional.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, there'll be one. You'd be like, okay,
shock you,
all right,
yeah.
it'll shock you. It'll shock
That's when you pull up MySys and you're looking, okay, I don't see the emergency contact. There's no man.
His grandparents.
Yeah. And be like, all right, I'm going to give him after school detention.
I mean,
just like Dr. Mom.
It's still kind of a weird thing because what grade level you said? Elementary school, right?
Yeah.
What grade level?
6th, 7th, and 8th.
6. Okay,
Seventh.
middle school. So like,
6th is easy.
well, the 6th
surprisingly.
graders are sweet.
And yeah,
So
they're
sweet.
They're
Yeah.
so
Yeah,
sweet
they're
and they're
nice.
so eager. He's the one who told me they're so eager to learn. But then it's like something happens in 7th grade to where like
They get
it's like
cool.
you know those
Yeah.
scenes in werewolf movies to where
Yeah,
like
yeah,
the
yeah.
hair comes on the back of the knuckles. Like they start smashing the classroom once they get.
Well,
in
7th grade is kind of no man's
Like-
land.
Yeah.
Like it's like the black
Yeah.
hole of education.
Yeah,
And-
yeah.
yeah, like and like and they learned like you got to think when the kid first gets there, they're all excited. Like
Yeah.
I'm not in elementary school anymore. And then they see the 8th graders that are all jaded. Because what happens is that all the kids sing that same song. This school sucks, man. This school sucks.
Yep.
Especially the 8th graders at the beginning of the year. Then towards the middle of the year, towards the end, they start realizing that time is running out.
Mm.
And then at the end of the year, they're all like, we don't want to go.
Yeah.
But then the 7th graders are still acting like little jerks, like, man, I hate this place.
Yeah.
And then, okay, I'm gonna give you 10 months. We'll see what you're talking about next May. Oh, I'm gonna miss you so much. But 7th grade is like literally no man's land.
Yeah,
Dude,
that's
7th
true.
grade human like something happens in your brain to where you're just a terrible person for. a
Oh,
year.
absolutely.
It's called
Oh, no.
puberty. As
It's
soon
called
as that-
puberty.
Dude, as soon as you're sitting in class, I'm a math teacher, and 6th grade, this never happens. But you go, okay, and the answer's 69. The kid goes, he said 69, and you're like, oh, it's happened.
Yeah.
And then you're done. You've lost
No,
them at that
middle
point.
schoolers are the meanest human beings on the planet.
Oh yeah.
Like,
They're not
mean.
really witty though.
No, some of them are though, because like
I haven't met them.
everyone. Yeah, really.
Not a lot of
Oh.
them. They'll just be like, "Oh, your jacket looks dumb, dude." No,
Every
it's
once in
not
a while.
like- it's not actually good. It's like, "Dude, what's up with your haircut, bro?" And then I'm like, "You're not hurting my feelings."
Every once in a while there'll be a joke, and I was like, man, I probably shouldn't laugh at that. Yeah, I probably shouldn't be.
Sometimes they
But
say
it's
funny
funny.
stuff.
Yeah.
Sometimes-
Really
Yeah.
funny
Dude,
stuff.
Funny
The
stuff,
Diddy
creative.
thing, when
Yeah.
Diddy was first a thing, they'd always be like, because I would do improv games, and then they'd be like, okay, who is he? And they'd be like, he's Diddy. And I was like, no, who else? And then it's like, why? Why can't we be Diddy? And I'm like, why can't you be Diddy? I'm like, no.
No.
And so the answer is just no. I have to put like a foot down. But then there was one of the kids, I probably shouldn't say this. We might.
Don't say the name.
No,
I'm
say
just
the
going to
name.
Say the name.
No,
Yeah.
I just won't say the name. I'll say what the kid said. So I go, why are you guys so obsessed with Diddy?
Mhm.
And she goes, he's obsessed with us, sir.
Oh.
Ah. That was quick.
Pretty insightful.
I was
Yeah.
like, I mean,
Yeah.
you're not wrong,
Mhm.
but at the same time, like, no.
Okay, so what are some of the things that you've actually heard the kids say to other kids that you're like,
It's-
oh,
it's
dude, I
when
almost
they're-
want to write that one down. That going in the memory. That's
No, it's
the memory
usually when
bank.
they're insulting each other because sometimes the child will say something, and we always have to remain the adult in the room. But sometimes the child will say exactly what you wanted to say, and then it's like, oh, you deserve that one. Oh, yes, you deserve that. And especially if the whole class laughs, and then you got to be like, oh, hey, you guys, we're gonna be nice to each other or whatever bullshit. But you're inside celebrating, like, yes, you got what you deserve. So yeah, things like that happen all the time. Yeah.
You guys, who's your like? Are they here? Do you guys have like a disciplinarian at your school?
Oh, yeah.
That's Jack.
Yeah.
We
Dude,
do.
Seriously. Wait,
Miss Linares, who's not here. Yeah, she's our like back in the day we used to have a position called a dean.
oh, do we have a dean? at
Yeah,
our
we don't.
school?
They don't call him the dean
have a dean
anymore.
at our
She's
school.
what is her title? Intervention coordinator.
That's-
which is a
yeah.
fancy fucking way to say dean.
Dude,
Yeah,
our dean is
yeah,
so
like-
funny. She'll just say to the kids, she'll be like, "You need to be baptized." Like,
what does that mean?
yeah, she'll just say that.
What does
She'll
that
just say
mean?
that, and she'll be like, she's like, "He's gonna get baptized 3 times." Like she says
Oh,
that kind of
got
stuff.
it. Got
so
it. Is this an old
funny.
black woman?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, she's not
course.
old. She's
Of course,
like
she's black.
she's probably like
Yeah,
41.
yeah.
Black woman.
Yeah, for sure.
Of course. I'm like, no, it's a small, frail white guy.
Definitely not.
Especially baptized.
Hey, that was funny though.
Yeah, it's like a guy who looks like Woody
Oh.
Allen but sounds like that.
And they love her, don't they?
They do, but they're also scared of her.
Terrible.
That's good.
Because it's kind of like every time she gets called, she flips on the switch and she goes into discipline mode.
Mm.
Yeah,
you know?
for sure.
And so it's like, you need that.
Right.
Because like I was like one of the kids, he pulled the fire alarm in my class.
In your class?
In my class. And I have like 40 kids a class. So there's like that's
Yeah,
why my
yeah,
eye
yeah.
was doing that thing.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like it's just like your nerves are fried. So he
Yeah.
pulled the fire alarm in my class, and she came in, and then he was like walked back in the class the next day, like he had just come back from a war, and he was just and I was like, "What did you do?" She was like, "I made him pick up trash,"
Mhm.
and so he was picking stuff up around. But like kids need that sometimes.
Yeah,
Like
absolutely.
kids
Yeah.
need
Real
actual discipline
Real.
because when you see that like kids like have like no, like there's certain kids who actually need that.
Well, I mean, all schools are vastly different. So the way that disciplinarian deals with discipline on your campus is probably different from my campus. Like the school, like I spent 14 years in South LA, right? And at Carver Middle School is like one of those schools that they make those weird ass movies about, and the great white teacher comes
comes
in
in.
and
I've
saves the
subbed
day.
there.
Rescues
I know
students.
exactly
Rescues
what you're
everyone.
talking about.
Same.
man.
Yeah,
I've
that's-
subbed there too. That's all I subbed there.
Yeah.
You guys have been there before, right?
Yeah. I'm gonna change these kids' lives.
Like, what is this? Gangster's Paradise is playing in
Yeah.
the back.
Exactly.
I played that while I was walking in. I played it on a boombox.
But
fact.
that school was different, and it's interesting because I've only been at LeConte for 7 years now, I think, and it's weird to hear teachers complain about the discipline at LeConte because
In what way? Like
in
that it's-
because LeConte is Disneyland in comparison. There are like literally no gangs on our campus.
Oh yeah, we got
right?
a bunch.
But where Carver is situated, there's one of the oldest Latino gangs in the state. They've been there forever. PBS is an old gang. So like how you gonna tell this kid not to gangbang? His grandfather's in that gang,
Yeah.
right?
That's so
and
weird.
We're
to
talking
see
about.
a guy with a king. Like
I'm talking about an
cane that
8th
has a
grader with a
teardrop
neck tattoo, like coming to
grew
my
like
English
that.
class, right? Like
Yeah.
he about to have life. And
Yeah.
when I first got to LeConte, there were kids walking around with scripts. Right, like, oh, I'm going to. You're like, I was like, wow, this place is way different. Like, we had 3 guns on my campus when I was there. In the 14 years I was there, we had 3 guns.
When
on our campus.
was this?
This-
Wait, you had 3 guns on.
on my campus, there were students that brought guns to school.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
black and brown kids shoot up the block. They don't shoot up the school.
Yeah, that's
White
true.
kids shoot
That's
up
that.
the
No,
school.
that's a white.
Yeah.
kid.
Yeah.
Everything
That's
around the
definitely
school,
a white guy.
schools and churches,
Always
dude.
a white guy.
It's
It's
black and
always a
brown
white guy.
kids.
It is.
So like these weapons were always brought to school and it's a boy. It's always a boy, and he's just showing his friends, right?
Yeah.
But the point is that our neighborhood had that element in it at a higher level than where LeConte is. Even though LeConte is poor, it's almost like some of our kids don't really know they're poor, whereas the other like impoverished neighborhood was far more intense. So
Don't you? It feels like every school in LAUSD though is like a Title I school.
right.
Pretty much, it feels that way. I
Yeah,
mean,
like,
at least
because subbing and stuff.
even
right?
as a
Like-
sub, I don't remember ever going to a middle school where I was like, oh, this like that it was a step above. It just seemed all the same no matter where I went. Now, some it would be degrees of worse, like where you're talking about, like Carver Middle School. I forgot my lunch, and decided to walk across the street and got yelled at immediately by people in the neighborhood. I went back inside, talked to the secretary, and I was like, yeah, it's crazy out there. She went, you went outside? I don't even go outside.
Is that bad?
Yeah, dude,
My,
you have
my
no
last
idea,
year
bro.
there, our student body president got shot in the leg. Like she's the best. Yeah, she was the best. Now she was sitting on her porch, and these gang members got off the bus, and she got hit with ricochet. They weren't even shooting at her, but that's by virtue of the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Like literally the best and the brightest kid that we have on this campus is on crutches. She didn't even miss a day of school. She went to the hospital. It was like a weekend. Came back to school on crutches next day. It was like, oh, I'm here. Let's go to work. Right. That type of resiliency is something that's actually really special. But
yeah. Zoe's in Oxnard.
Yeah, so Oxnard. What's
Zoe's
teaching
in
like?
Oxnard.
What's it like in Oxnard?
It's they don't gang bang for sure.
No.
Yeah, no.
Dude,
But-
please tell this story really quickly before we go on,
Which
because
one?
he teaches drama too. Tell the story about the improv kids though. You're gonna have to like monitor what they talk about.
Oh yeah, I was just telling I was telling the teacher like, well, just make sure you just watch what they do because kids go crazy automatic, right? So she gave me an improv scene and she said, improv whatever you want to improv, right? And then the kid came out with a gun, like, everybody get down! Everybody get down! Take everything out of your pockets right now, everything! Kids start taking pens out their pockets, brushes, combs, water bottles. Give me all of your money right now! I'm like, what are you doing? Stop! So, yeah,
I did what you told me.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's
went
just
for
yes
it.
anding.
Yeah,
That's
they think violence right away for no reason. Why violence?
But that's also
Yeah.
the thing is when you first told me that I was like, man, that must be a rough school. But that's also like
Yeah.
kids. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
boys innately want to tear stuff up.
Yeah.
So
But
it's
not
like,
Rob, though.
dude, we have in our classroom, not Rob, but dude.
Big difference.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I mean, the kids
Yeah.
at my school, like even like the nerdy kind of like, kids that are like into math, like the like they
Yeah.
still like when I let them, you guys know what I'm talking about. They still, when I let them make props, they're like, "Can we make a gun?" I'm like, "No."
Yeah.
And then I'm like,
Yeah.
they're like, "Why?" And I'm like, "Because have you watched the news before?"
Yeah.
And then, but they there's a thing I think where like little boys sometimes they just want to.
There's a lot of truth to that. So like
You know?
when I see all the kids like drawing things, the boys are drawing guns and dicks,
dicks for sure.
and the girls
Really?
are yeah,
All
and
over.
then the
There's-
girls just
Why?
It
and the
looks like
girls,
a frat party.
the girls only
Really?
dress draw pictures of themselves dressed nicely.
Okay.
That's it, or them as an anime character.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
the way that girls can interrupt the class is just they take out makeup, especially middle school. And
Oh,
Oh,
Lord.
yeah.
Yeah, but
Hella
they're
makeup.
just learning how to do their makeup, and they end
yeah,
up
and it's
looking
like, you look like
way
it.
too much.
they like
Yeah.
corpses, like somebody's.
Yeah.
Like, bro, what are you
A
talking?
clown.
Yeah, it's always
Too
horrible.
much.
Yeah.
So let me ask you a question then.
Yeah.
Do you think that the violence is by virtue of the media that they consume? Because a lot of times this generation is something that we overlook, that they consume information faster than, and it doesn't mean that they understand what they're consuming, but they consume information faster than any other generation in the history of Earth. Like,
It's too easy.
yeah,
Yeah.
they
It's
can,
too easy.
yeah, they
Social
can
media.
just
Uh-huh.
flip it open and get that
Yeah.
dopamine hit, but aren't they just mimicking what they see?
I don't know, but I feel like it definitely affects like teaching in the classroom.
Oh,
'Cause, like,
absolutely.
if you talk about something they're not interested in,
Right.
they're trying to do this to you. Like I can't get them out of my algorithm.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
that's what they're
an
trying to
interesting
do while
point.
you're
I can't
on.
get you out of my algorithm.
Yeah, like
Right.
that's the way that they're
I
thinking. like, they're
depend.
trying to
I
get
think
you.
it depends what school, what area.
True.
You know what I'm saying? If you're in the
True.
hood, like where I'm from, Chicago, they see it.
Yeah.
They imitate what they see.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
Mhm.
in Oxnard, I think it's maybe just what they see on social media.
Right.
You know?
Well, I
that
mean,
area, yeah.
like, poor parents love their children through gifts. So
Mhm.
what ends up happening is that you get a family that is impoverished, but that little motherfucker got an iPhone.
That's
Yes.
nicer
Oh,
than
yeah.
all of
absolutely.
ours.
And-
Dude, it's better
and
than all of
Because
us.
he
Yeah.
got that iPhone, he's made it, right?
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
then,
Uh-huh.
you start thinking about the psychology of someone that makes great sacrifices to give this child an opportunity to be successful. But the child is like, pleasing themselves and, getting those dopamine hits in their brain. So why should I feel happy about getting my schoolwork done? Well, all I got to do is click on Instagram.
And
And all
feel
I
good.
got to do
And
is
watch
click on
something.
TikTok. And
Yeah.
then, like, I'm already gratified, right? Because the thing we hear the most is that it was boring, mister. I was like,
Yeah.
I didn't want to do it because it was boring. I was like, shit, so was washing the dishes. But you got to do it. Like, so was taking out the trash. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it's like you have too much information at your fingertips. You know
Right.
what I mean? Because like, I mean, even adults are addicted to our phones.
Oh,
So it's
absolutely.
like when your brain's like developing,
Mhm.
that's a crazy, we've actually talked about that on the podcast a lot.
Mm.
It's like a crazy concept.
Actually,
Do you think it's a bad thing for parents to give their kids iPads at an early age? Because that's leading up to why they watch social media. Because at that age, they on iPads, they could go to YouTube and watch what they want to watch. So
I don't think
it's from a
there's
young
ever.
age.
I don't think there's ever a reason. I mean, maybe this is just me. Like, I just sound old, but like, I don't think there's a reason to give a kid a phone before 8th grade. Like, if a kid's like, "Hey, I got to take this," it's like, who's calling you? You're at school. Like, I gotta take it. And I'm like, you know, like, and I always joke with them. I'm like, unless you have like you're investing in the stock market, like, get off your phone.
Yeah.
You know, because it's like it creates a sense of I realize that's the world we're in, but I don't know. I don't have kids.
It's
so I
the
can't really
parents that
speak
do
to
it to the kids, though. It's the parents.
No,
Yeah.
absolutely, but
Yeah.
like because Chris has an idea, I see him. It's bubble.
Yeah,
What are you gonna say? And then he keeps talking about-
Please let me get it out.
It's like a fart.
So the question I have for you is, you've been in the school system as a teacher so much longer than me, right?
Yeah, I've got.
So you
21
remember,
years.
even though we're pretty much the same age, have you really seen a difference in how social media affects the students, just how they feel about themselves?
Well, absolutely.
Because I could tell you from my own personal algorithm,
Mhm.
I'm back on Instagram for the first time in 5 years. It figured me out already, and it's made me a wreck.
Yeah.
It's trying to sell me hair transplants,
This is
guys.
what-
It shows me pictures of
So
beautiful.
hold on.
No,
Chris
dude.
and I.
That's the worst thing.
So where are you
Yeah.
going? Are you going to Turkey next week?
So Chris and I were
Turkey
hanging
or
out
Mexico, guys.
in my room,
That's so
just
funny.
chopping it up. And what did you say your algorithm was?
I
It was
said my
hair transplant?
algorithm is just beautiful women with nice butts, followed by hair
And hair
transplants.
transplant.
So
Oh,
this
that's
is what you
funny.
want. This is what you need to try to get that thing.
Yeah.
That is hilarious.
So it's funny because this year and like maybe last year,
Yeah.
my students have asked me more about like steroids. Like,
really?
They're like,
I'm-
"Are you
I
on
am
TRT?"
not
I was
lying.
like,
I'm not lying. And I think about it because there are fitness influencers that are not shy about the chemicals and the drugs that they're
Oh
taking.
no, they're
Right.
blatant
So
about
then you
it.
get some dude that's, 6'4" and like
Cut up.
7% body fat, and he's 260 pounds. And our kids, like, look, man, like, I'm right at the end of Generation X.
They just said less jack.
Oh yeah, let's just jacked. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm right at the end of Generation X and into Millennial, right? So I'm
Uh-huh.
actually closer and more Millennial than Gen X. But the point is that we grew up with fucking He-Man.
Yeah.
Right?
Dude, yeah,
like,
Transformers.
like we grew up
Ninja
looking
Turtles.
at but so
G.I. Joe.
G.I. Joe's, right?
Yeah, G.I. Joe's.
And
Yeah.
back to what the kids are consuming, yeah, they're mimicking because they believe that this is what is important, or this is like the archetype,
100%.
like this is the standard, right?
Well, dude, they don't even watch like. I asked one of the kids. I was like, "Do you guys watch like any shows?" I was like, "What about anything on
TV is
Netflix?" And they're like,
dead.
They
"Netflix
don't.
is for old people." And I was like, "What?"
TV is dead. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Like-
if you're attention span, first of all, you've been had a device in your face since you were 3 years old. And the problem with that is it stunts your imagination.
Yeah.
Because when we were kids, like I remember we played in the beginning, we played video games when we couldn't go outside.
Yes.
But then by the time
Yeah.
the Sega Genesis days came and the Nintendo 64 days came, it was different. We was locked in. But before that, you would have to go outside and use your imagination to entertain yourself. There
Yeah.
was nothing else. Like I remember my mama saying, "Go outside,"
Yeah.
Mhm.
and you don't come back in the house because if you ain't gonna be coming in and out of my house, like
Yeah. We riding bikes and yeah.
right,
We doing
right.
whatever we
And
can.
back to the idea of the cell phones, it's like I remember my neighborhood being more dangerous, and the idea that we were just largely unsupervised, just roaming about, and it's just a weird dynamic watching our 13-year-olds feel like they need to be tethered to the devices at all times.
And to your point, dude, when you say like going outside, I don't think people, it sounds weird to say it, but I don't think people appreciate how important boredom is.
Oh yeah,
Like
They don't
because
have
that's
to.
how you
Yeah.
create. You
Yeah.
create from that. So if you're consuming it
yeah.
from
you're
the
not creating
outside,
anything.
like a lot of people don't know this, nicotine is actually created by the body, right? But when you start smoking, your body shuts off creating it,
Mhm.
and that starts the feedback loop of I need the nicotine from the outside.
Yeah.
To me, social media or any video games, all this stuff is literally doing the same thing.
Right.
And now you're just a
Yeah, that's really what it is.
it's like watching
Right.
people at the slot machines.
cat.
You have
Well-
little kids, right? And they're
It's a
basically
slot machine. The people who invented the technology also, I think, I heard this on social media, so it might not even be true. See how it deeply ingrained? I'm like, the people, and I'm like, actually, I heard that on a TikTok
I'm
video.
YouTube certified
Shit!
a lot.
Like,
Exactly.
it's like, who told you that? It's like TikTok.
Yeah.
It even sounds kind of like, TikTok. But yeah, it's ridiculous, dude. It has like it's too much dopamine. It's not good for any of us. But I
No.
mean, I'm not getting off my phone.
No,
anytime.
no. There is a slight difference though because the children born today, like I was standing in my classroom telling them about the 90s, right? And then I realized that the 90s
The
is
90s were dope.
35 years ago,
Mhm.
right?
That's sad.
That's
Yeah,
too
yeah,
far
yeah.
away.
So what that means that in middle school, when a teacher was telling me about 35 years ago, she was talking about the 60s.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh shit,
Yeah.
yo. And don't let me start about the 80s, right?
Mm.
Because if they're telling about the 80s, that's the 50s. That's before civil rights. Like, what the fuck are we
Yeah.
talking about?
I
Right? Like,
Yeah.
I'm having this like epiphanal experience because we
Yeah.
started reading The Outsiders and it's set in the 60s.
Yeah, dude.
And I
Ricky
was
Martin
trying
is
to
classic
explain.
rock now.
Yeah.
Ricky Martin is classic rock. 50 Cent is classic hip hop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
I have a niece
Yeah.
that's 8 years old, and she asked me what slavery was like. I'm like, I'm scared of slavery.
well, no.
Are you serious?
No,
How can you say this?
So you know the answer that I love.
Yeah.
The answer that I love was like when like if I say, well, what was Dr. King famous for? He stopped slavery, Mr. Thompson. Like Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. stopped slavery? What? That's the answer I love all the time.
What was slavery?
He stopped
Like,
slavery.
how am I supposed to know this?
Yeah, like what?
Yeah.
Like he was out there waiting.
Did it hurt you when they hit you on your back? Did it hurt you? Like, no.
We're that ancient to them. That's
Oh,
what's
absolutely.
Crazy,
Yeah.
because it's
Yeah.
like once you're. I don't know what kids consider old, but they also don't have a good guesser when it comes to your age because they'll be like, "How old are you?"
Yeah.
And I'll be like, "How old do you think I am?" They'll be like, 19, and another person goes 50,
Yeah.
and then I was like,
Yeah.
"Which
Yeah.
one is it?" You know,
Well, in
they
middle
just
school,
kinda
we're
like-
also talking to these students that are becoming aware. Like literally 3 years prior to that, the concept of time was something that was like intangible and nebulous. It was like they don't give a fuck; they were just here, right?
Mhm.
But now you're a little bit stronger, you're a little bit taller. You're getting attention from the opposite sex. Now it's like you're becoming more aware. So when they ask us how old we are, they're trying to place you in their experience, and you're looking at them
That
like,
minds,
bro,
yeah.
your experience is only 13 years
13
Yeah.
years.
of
dude.
Earth.
absolutely.
And to be honest with you, that first 10 years of your life doesn't really count anyway.
But
Yeah.
yet they're so cynical.
facts.
Like
Yes,
they've
they're so
been-
cynical,
like
yeah.
they've been here.
Right. Like,
It-
shut
but then
your ass up.
they move around like they just got here.
Yeah, and I think
it's weird.
actually, we talk about that middle school. That's when like the first time you see like a social hierarchy
Yeah.
actually start to form. Like if you talk to an elementary kid, either someone's like fun to play with or not fun to play with. That's it. That's the
Right.
only way that you're judging stuff.
Yeah.
But then middle school, it starts separating into these groups and people are judging each other in ways that they never judged each other before.
Absolutely. And this is like
Facts.
Golding's Lord of the Flies is amazing. Because
Mhm.
oftentimes, if you like, for me, I'll stand there and I was like, if there were no adults here, our classes will split down the line and there will be tribes and they will be fighting and it will be violent. There will be nothing civil here because they're not sophisticated enough to know,
Mhm.
right? Because 3 years ago, they were babies, right? 3
Yeah.
years ago, they were little kids. They were elementary school, right? And I have to tell our students, look, man, you are closer to being out of your house than you are to being in your house. At 13 years old, you have 4, maybe 5 years
5
tops
years.
before, you have impoverished
Right,
family. Your mama
yeah.
is not going to be paying your bills at 19, buddy. You got,
Yeah.
Mhm.
5 years tops
Facts.
and you're going to be up out of there. And they're like,
Dude, that's
what?
crazy to think that these kids have 5 years to get out
That's
of the
it.
house.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
it. And it's going to go by in the blink of an
Fast.
eye.
Yeah,
Yeah.
dude, you're licking the
Yeah.
desk. You're out in 5 years.
You're out of here, buddy. Yeah, so,
That's so
Hey,
ridiculous.
let me ask you, man, because Matt and I have talked about this, especially him being a first-year teacher, right?
Mhm.
The stress of the job.
Dude, it's
What
the
do-
most.
Yeah. So
Sorry.
what? No, dude, you're good. Like, what are the things like that you have done or do to actually de-stress or just get centered again or whatever?
bro, I have developed a I don't give a fuck button. Like, it's massive.
How
Like-
long have you been teaching?
Nah,
Yeah.
man. No, I mean, well, when it comes to interacting with my students, I'm always like really dialed in. But when it comes to my administration, like, I don't care, bro. Like, so I'm speaking from a position that's somewhat empowered because I'm a
Mhm.
black male that doesn't teach PE. and I can throw a dart.
That's
Bro,
real.
yeah, like-
Or coach football.
Or
yeah.
coach football.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I can literally close my eyes and throw a dart at any school in the district and get a job. So it's like, and there's not a line around the corner for people that want to do my job and that can do my job well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, yeah.
like I don't know what administrator it is, but if they're sitting there talking to me like, Mr. Thompson, I'm sitting there like, come on, man, stop it. Like that's the position that I have.
Speaking of that, when's the last time you actually paid attention during a professional development?
So
Dude, the teachers in PD,
Booyah.
dude, nobody pays attention. Middle school teachers act like middle schoolers in professional development. They're like, dude, these kids are fucking assholes, and then they go in there while somebody's on stage. And
no,
the entire time. It's so funny.
no.
Yeah.
Miss Cossey gave a wonderful PD last week.
Yeah.
It was about mindfulness. It was about I don't fucking remember. Geography.
I like how all the different teachers sit next to each other. There's like the elective teachers, that like the artsy people. It's just like being back in school. And then there's the PE teachers.
Oh, yeah.
And they're showing each other stuff on their phones. And I'm sure it's probably not.
Oh no, we sit by
appropriate,
department all the time.
What's that?
It's kind of you over there, we're over there. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's. I think that what happens is we understand inherently how important our job is, but then like society doesn't necessarily do a great job reinforcing the fact that we're just as important as police officers and we're just as important
100%.
as firefighters, and we don't get paid the same amount. We don't get paid as well, and sometimes we're always the blame for some of the things that happen societally, right?
That's crazy.
And even in our professional developments, they keep putting these stupid ass posters with the red students, right? They read at such a level and it's so low, and then we have a green, but it's always about the red kid. And I'm like, well, that red kid is improving, right? Like if the kid knew how to do the shit, they wouldn't have to come to school, right? If they already knew how to do what I'm trying to teach them how to do, then they wouldn't need me at all. And it's so weird because even our administrators some of them were teachers once upon a time. But some of them only taught like 3 years and they was out of the classroom and,
I think they
so
have
the
instant
first
forgetters.
yeah.
And you can't blame them, but it's like there's a reason why I always say like my favorite is when they go, I would love to be back in the classroom.
Bullshit.
Here's your chance, and
Yeah.
no one's
Yeah.
going back.
Yeah, I
You
would.
know?
I mean,
Do you feel though that your stress level got mitigated by like you said like the first 5 years?
yeah.
was the
So I
most
think that it
stressful, right?
takes like 3 to 5 years to actually get good at the job, because like for me,
Really?
I'm lucky. I only teach 8th grade English, and like I've only taught 7th grade like twice. So I don't even make new lessons. I just cater the lesson to the child that's in front of me. So like when I get to my classroom, I know exactly what I'm doing on Monday. I'm not like as a first year teacher, you have to kind of invent the wheel. I'm not reinventing
Especially in
the wheel.
theater.
Yeah, especially in theater.
Yeah,
But
you have to be like
if we
yeah.
get 5 years down the road, you have a playbook,
Mhm.
right? You have experiences that you can draw from. Like when you get
You got weapons.
you got weapons,
Yeah.
right? It's like being a boxer. You've had enough fights, you've had enough sparring matches, so you understand how to respond or how to throw the counter punch or how to roll and slip the jab and so on and so forth. Yeah, like because that's what it is, right? It's like sometimes our job feels like a wrestling match. Like you just wrestles with 130 fucking 13-year-olds, and at the end of the day, your administrator is like looking at you like you didn't do a good enough job when
Yeah, I know.
when you left everything in the classroom.
Absolutely.
Like, cause how many of us find ourselves sitting in a room at the end of the day, just breathing like, man.
Yeah,
Maybe,
Right.
yeah.
dude, I have all kinds of weird stuff that I do. There's this thing called EFT tapping, to where you tap on acupuncture points, and I thought
Oh,
I
shit.
locked my door, and I was just doing that, and I didn't see the kid.
That's
And then
awesome.
He was like, yeah, he just looked at me. He's like, "Are you okay?" Like he kind of had like that look or whatever. And
What
I
the
just
hell's wrong with my
tried to play
teacher?
it off. I was like, "Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it's acupuncture. I study it," and I just tried to, But yeah, dude, like it's a lot.
So, well, let me ask you this then, because since you mentioned acupuncture, and that's a holistic like approach to like mindfulness and knowing who you are. Do you think that the device pulls us away from those types of things, because the devices are so unnatural, right? And like for me, I'll often turn off the lights by the middle of the day because I hate those lights. It feels like they're cooking me, right?
Oh yeah,
Like,
dude.
those
That
lights-
fluorescent light.
Those
and you
lights
look
are terrible.
It makes
like,
everyone look so ugly.
oh
Like, if
man,
you-
I
like,
hate those
under there, it's
lights. Yeah.
It's like
So
it's-
do you think that I know I spun the block, came back to devices, but do you think that devices are pulling us away from things that are more holistic and more natural and like more coping mechanisms that we can figure out?
Yeah, 100%. But it's also like it's your algorithm's just curated to you.
Absolutely.
So whatever it is that you're into, it's going to show you. I'm into that kind of stuff.
Yeah, bro. I was
I'm
watching
into like
Voltron
mind,
before we came
body.
here.
Yeah,
Devices-
100%.
The devices never allow you to be.
They never allow you to what?
They never allow you to be in the moment. You're actually taken out of the moment. If you think about it, the virtual world literally is another world. So you can. Have you ever seen the movie Ready Player One?
Yeah,
where
Ready Player One is
literally
a great film.
everybody
Yeah.
lives
Yeah.
in just god awful conditions,
Yeah.
but then they put on their little VR sets, and boom, it's a completely different world.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think that's where the problem happens. Is like you have a kid, they don't know any different.
Right.
Right. So you have this, and then the device is taken away, and now they're just in the world.
Right.
It's not, nothing will ever be
That's
as
an
good as
interesting
that.
point because the problem with middle schoolers is that they are trying to be cool, right? They're trying to
100%.
figure out ways to fit in. They're becoming more social. Some of their social decisions that they make now are going to affect them for the rest of their lives. Like some of our kids started smoking when they started a weed habit in the 7th grade, right? And
Absolutely.
going forward, this is something that they're going to have attached to them. And realistically, when they are consuming, they're not creating, right? It's like if you're watching a screen, you're not moving forward, but you feel as though, right? Like when you create something, it feels good to draw a picture, but you got gratified from somebody else drawing a picture.
yeah.
And all you did was watch that. So now you're not innovating anything. And back to Ready Player One, it's like, that's like Plato's allegory of the cave, right?
Yeah.
People are watching the images on the cave, but they're not creating anything. They're just being manipulated.
And speaking of that, too, one of the things I've noticed in your classroom when I've been sitting there is that when you have the kids write, a lot of the time you're actually having them draw as
Oh,
well.
absolutely.
And some of those drawings are just absolutely incredible.
Well, because I teach reading, right?
Yeah.
And many of our students were taught they were taught phonics, right? And unfortunately, phonics doesn't work, especially if you speak dual language, right? Like sounding the word out, because what ends up happening is our students will read like they were taught to read. When I stepped out into the bright sunlight and they're not using their imagination. And then you ask them, you read the whole page from the top to the bottom and say, what was that about? They're like, I don't know. They read every single word. They don't give themselves time to think about it. They don't give them time to talk about it. Like if it was a movie, they would love it. But just because it's words on the page, their processing skills have been eroded because their imaginations are not activated.
In their defense, that's happened to me before. Yeah.
I mean, it happens to
You ever-
all of us.
Like you ever go a while
Yeah.
without reading, and then you're
Dude,
like, you know what? I need to
100%.
get back to reading. A page and a half in, you're like, I'm feeling sleepy.
Yeah.
Dude, yes.
But
Yes.
that happens to everyone.
Yes,
It's
yes,
a natural
yes.
thing. But what it is that discomfort facilitates growth, right? You can't get better
Uh-huh.
if you're just laying in a fucking comfy cloud all the time. Like you have to be
100%.
uncomfortable. So like all of us that went to college, we fought through those sleepy ass, long
Absolutely.
ass things. And it conditions you, so to speak. Right. So yeah, that's why I have them draw the pictures, because if they didn't, then the idea will, because I was taught whole word, right? Whole word is picture of a frog and the word frog, right? So in my head, there's always an image that goes along with the picture, right? And that works far better for students that speak other languages, right? like I've observed teachers that are interacting with students that are dual language, and they think like if I say it louder, the kid will understand. It's like, what the fuck are you stupid? Like, what's wrong with you?
Exactly.
Like,
Frog!
if I say it again, using the same word, they'll understand it. Like, no, draw him a picture. Oh, the little light bulb comes on. It's like, oh, I got it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's interesting because going back to the thing about the device, like with that, there's even like things like where you have to live through the awkwardness.
Oh,
of your
absolutely.
teenage years, and they're being stunted from that to where like sometimes life is awkward. You know what I mean? Like sometimes you like at that age you don't really know what to do with your hands.
Well, Chris
so
and
if
I
you
were talking
constantly
about-
have this and you're like doing that,
Chris and I
then
were
it's
talking
not,
about
you
riding
know.
in the car, right? There was a time period where all of us was riding in the car.
Mhm.
Your mom is driving, and you have to occupy yourself.
Absolutely.
You got to figure. We're gonna play punch buggy. I'm gonna punch you in the arm every time I see a buggy. We're gonna count the license plates, the out of state plates, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
And you think that type of like cognitive engagement is kind of a small workout for your brain versus you just sitting there with your device in your hand, right? Like, because that's what our kids are
Zoned out.
doing now, right? They're
Yeah.
zoned out because, and you learn a certain amount of discipline because if your parents are going on a long drive, you're going to sit there and be quiet. You're not going to disturb them, right? Like, well, my mom was pretty tough. So, it was-
Mine was too.
yeah,
She ain't
pretty
played
tough.
that.
Hey, and speaking
So-
of moms, you actually, what most people, some of the coworkers would already know this, but you literally teach at the same school that your mom taught
Yes,
at.
I do.
That's so
Yes.
dope.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
She was there for 25 years. I mean, she had 10 years teaching in Brooklyn, and she taught like 3 years at Reseda High School. And then when she wound up at LeConte Middle School, she was there for 25 years before she retired. So, like, I always knew I was going to be a teacher. Like, I played football, I ran a little track, like, I played basketball, but I played football in college. But what ended up happening is when, like, after the last major injury I had, I'm sitting in the rehab, just doing rehab on my shoulder. I was like, man, this sucks. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to teach. I knew I was going to be a teacher anyway. That's exactly where my life was going. So when she was about to retire, she said, well, why don't you come here? It was her suggestion to bring me to LeConte. Otherwise, I had a great thing going in the hood. I had a great thing going in the hood. And my name is wonderful in those streets. Oh, that's Mr. Thompson. Like, I'm a part of that community, but she already had a community that was established here in Hollywood. So,
That's
yeah.
dope. That's really
And our
dope.
school is one of the oldest middle schools in Hollywood. It's been around for
That's cool.
102 years, right? Darcy, how many years has it been? 103 years? Yeah.
And you know
It's
what?
amazing
Yeah.
that middle schools exist because I'm surprised the kids don't just tear them all up. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
like a
I mean, our
20-year
school
shelf life.
has a ton of history, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, people don't really recognize that schools were segregated and they were whites only schools. So when our
course.
school was built, none of our brown kids could have gone there anyway. And then our school
Why?
was
Because it was in Hollywood. Like,
no.
was it-
Southern California had something called Mexican only schools. Doesn't matter
Okay.
if you're Guatemalan, doesn't matter if your family's El Salvadoran, you're brown, go over there, right? Those schools were underfunded and so on and so forth. Like, what ends up happening is that people think that civil rights was only for black people, right? But the
Facts.
focal point of racism in California wasn't a person that looked like me because black people are only 5% of the population in California. And that's 2025,
Yeah.
right? So all of the Jim Crow shit had very little to do with me and more to do with people that, are from various brown countries, so
Sure,
to speak. So
sure.
yeah, the history of our campus is pretty interesting, right? Like, we have a basement, a whole ass basement. That's a whole nother school where the girls went to because there was like a boys' school and a girls' school. It was segregated. So yeah, like, it's so ironic. Even Joseph C. LeConte wrote a treatise about the inferiority of Latino people, and that's who our school is named after.
That's wild, isn't
Yeah,
it?
He was an absolute racist. He hated brown people. He said intellectually inferior.
That's crazy. Why don't they maybe change it to
Well, no,
George
I mean-
Washington Carver? Or
Yeah,
something?
right.
Like from that era.
Yeah,
that George
Carver
Washington-
invented peanut butter, bro. Like,
Yeah,
he
it's just-
has over 100 patents. George
Dude,
Washington Carver was that dude. Carver was
The
man, bro.
peanuts or the
Yeah.
Hollywood peanuts, dude.
Now he's got
that's
the
a
Hollywood
freaking
peanuts would be
banger.
great. Yeah,
Dude, that's
Yeah.
a banger.
Yeah.
And then when you guys score a touchdown, they just throw salt in the air.
That would
You
be
know what I mean?
awesome.
How about a black
That's
dude
like-
invented the super soaker?
Oh yeah.
So that would
what's-
actually be kinda
I forgot
cool.
that brother's name. Dadgummit, you got me on the spot.
Yeah, but that guy is like
I
a
forgot,
literal.
yeah.
The
Yeah, you know
number
what I'm
of
talking
things
about.
that guy invented
Patents.
is incredible.
Upon patents. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think that realistically, the mindset of what does it mean to be an American is something that everyone is trying to define for themselves. So while we are defining those things, the idea of renaming a school or researching the namesake of the school is not priority number one when you got to keep the heat and the lights on in your house, right? Like,
For sure.
yeah, like a lot of our, most of our students are below the poverty line, right? And then they look at us like, "You a teacher, Mr. Thompson, you broke." I'm like, "I'm broke."
Yeah,
Exactly.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
what
You
you
know,
talking-
you
like,
go to school.
No, dude.
like, what are you,
Yeah.
what are you talking
And
about?
I will say this: California pays teach. Well, I can say LAUSD.
Mhm.
I think probably pays more than almost everywhere in the country.
Well, not
you
if
know,
you.
but kids are always asking.
You can teach in Arcadia; they pay better, and
Do they?
Inglewood pays better.
But relative to like
Oh
the
yeah,
middle,
absolutely.
the
New
mi-
York pays better.
New York, okay.
Yeah, New York pays better.
But
Yeah.
kids will be like
Massachusetts.
Massachusetts.
Really?
I don't want to live
Wow.
there though.
Really?
Pennsylvania.
Now, are you
Yeah.
guys?
Chicago like
But
that.
people
But-
bring it up, but
yeah.
I'm like, is it cost of how much you're making versus cost of living? You know, because that can make a huge difference.
Oh no, we
too.
pay the sunshine tax.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a sunshine tax in California.
100%.
Like the quality of life in other places is better.
Yeah,
But this is the place where people come with their dreams.
100%.
And like
100%.
like people are imported here. They want to be the next great things, and they end up waiting tables. I would like to
every
say,
day.
yeah, I'd like to say this is like Hollywood is a place where like it's like a big cemetery of dreams, right? Like
Yep.
you came here trying to be the next great thing, and you end up waiting tables at Denny's.
Dude, my friend
Yeah.
used to have a
Exactly.
stand-up bit.
Yeah.
Just a really funny comic, Justin Hires. He used to have a stand-up bit to where he's like, "You should have to audition to move here,"
Yeah,
like, which is like, I agree. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
it's like, I mean, you watch American Idol. You know, the level of self-delusion. Is
Oh, absolutely.
And
It's
who
crazy.
am I to? Who are any of us to grab on somebody's dreams? But if it's like, what do you do? And they're like, I sing. You know, and it's just like, really.
What, bro? You single?
I got a girl.
Okay, you got a
Yeah.
girl. Chris is single,
Yep.
right? You got a girl,
Yeah.
right? And we're talking about dating in this town, right? And dating in this town is actually very, very, very rough, right? Because for me, I feel like I'm a local, and I hate that. Oh, see, I was gonna say a bad word. Like, censor myself, but I can't stand that chick that's like, yeah, I'm an actress. I was like, well, where do you take classes?
Yeah.
Well, no, like
It's everywhere.
if there's that joke about the dudes, the lady saying, you know, I'm a singer in Hollywood, right? And so, well, where do you practice? Where do you have a vocal coach?
Do you do
And then he was like, I'm a soldier in Call of Duty, and I was like, yeah, that's a great analogy.
Dude, yes, because it's like it's one of those words you can just tack on anything, like actor. You know what I mean?
I'm
It's
an
like
actor.
influencer.
Just like the
I'm
people,
an
just like the
influencer.
people on Hollywood
Influencer.
Boulevard. Just like the people on Hollywood Boulevard.
Exactly like the people
they
on
be
Hollywood
made it.
Boulevard.
Yeah, exactly.
And the odd thing about the idea of influencers is that we are the influencers. We are actual,
100%.
real life, rubber meets the road influencers. That's what we are. Like,
And on that, that's a mic drop, dude. We are influencers.
we are the influencers.
What would you say though? We do got to jump out of here, but what would you
Yeah.
say? Like, do you still love teaching?
Oh,
Like,
absolutely. Every single day.
Are there ever days though where you're like,
It's not
I can't.
the teaching that's the issue, right?
It's
It's
everything
for me. It's about
surrounding.
like feeling valued,
Mm.
right? Because even I've never had a corporate job. I mean, I used to work at Wells Fargo. I was a teller. For a little
Value
while.
by who though?
But I've never
Value by who? The school?
No,
or
well,
the-
valued by society or valued by this. Like the students always value you,
Okay.
right?
Sure.
Even if the students don't value your effort, they
Mhm.
value your presence,
Absolutely.
right? Even if they don't value how much heart and soul you put into that lesson, there's a huge percentage of them that are just happy that you're there. Because
Facts.
what happens when you're absent, they're like, "Oh, where were you, mister?" Right?
Mhm.
Like
Yeah, yeah.
that is like I can't imagine sitting in a cubicle all day, every day, with some overlord boss trying to get me to make some fucking quotas. Like that
Yeah.
would drive me nuts. Nah, man. So yeah, it's absolutely every single day.
And
so
also
for
to-
the long haul?
Yeah,
teaching-
yeah.
teaching for
Well,
the
I
long
mean, I have some financial plans. I'm probably gonna retire within the next 2 or 3 years.
haul. Cool.
Yeah, because I make beats. I'm a music guy, and I have at 46, I have this thing like, bro, I've got 28 summers left. Right? I know that's incredibly morbid. I know it's morbid. Like it's not even 28, it's like 24. Right? I'm like, I don't want to feel like a battery in a machine because that's how the school teaches you or treats you. Like you're a battery in a machine. Like the school doesn't give a fuck about the time that you put in. The kids will remember. But
Yeah.
they're just gonna use up your energy, and then when you're done and you're broken and you're old, they're gonna toss you out with this whack ass retirement plan,
Yeah.
and then they're gonna put a new battery and keep the machine going. And I was like, that when Mr. Toots retired, I was kind of sad watching him walk out the door because I remember going to school and seeing Mr. Toots when his hair was black, like because I was there visiting my mom or something right there. I remember him.
Was it just for
And-
men hair gel or
No,
what?
man, Mr. Toots was
he
like-
aged like Barack Obama.
But he was like Mr. Toots was like 6'6",
Yeah.
just tall guy, very
Yeah.
charismatic. And I just
Yeah.
remembered him walking a little bit slower. I was like, man, that man gave all of his youth, which is noble. But there's no plaque on the wall. There's no like thing that says anything. There's no high score. There's no scoreboard to this. Like, like that
High
type of
score,
shit.
like teaching the video game.
Yes, exactly. I
Yeah.
want to like I used to when I first started teaching. I was like, they're gonna name a building after me when this shit is done. I'm gonna get my own building. But now I'm like, man, look, I don't even know if I'm gonna get my own building, but I do know I'm gonna get some freedom
Absolutely.
financially. I've
Yeah.
made some decisions that'll
Heck yeah.
allow me to retire.
But
soon.
I want to say something that's really nice is that you're one of the few people that when you stand outside your door, you literally greet every student, right, with a smile every single day. And you're giving high five. Like, I know that I've actually walked by and was like, I need one. Give me a high five.
This counselor will run down the hall and give you my high five. I need a high five today. Yeah. So why let's run the gauntlet real quick. Why are you a teacher? Or if not, why are you a teacher? Who was that teacher that had the most influence on your life? Because I'm trying to be that guy for my students. Because I remember, it's like, this is a baton, right? Somebody gave it to me. So whether the kid takes it or not, I still have to pass the baton. I still have to offer it to them, right? Because our kids are like, the building doesn't remember, but our kids are like the little pyramids in the sand that last forever, right? Like, realistically, yeah, so who was your teacher? Who was the one for you?
You know what? It wasn't until I was in college. Dr. Benzinger.
Dr. Benzinger?
He's the first one I got in my first paperback, and he wrote content and ideas, A, and then everything else, structure, all that, he said F. And then I went up to him and I said, what can I do? And he goes, kid, you got great ideas. You don't know how to write. And he said, meet me every Tuesday at such and such time. And he taught me how to write. And then I was like, oh, I'm not dumb. I just don't know what I'm doing.
Right. And I bet you someone did that for him.
Yeah.
Right. It's like more Plato, the magnetic ring, right? The ring itself isn't magnetic. It has to touch the magnetism. And then you can rub it up against something else. And now it becomes magnetic. But they have to be made out of the same thing. Who was your teacher?
It was Miss May.
Miss May?
Yeah.
Mrs. May or Mr. May?
Miss May.
Miss May.
Miss May.
Elementary, high school?
No, it was high school. It was high
Really?
school. Yeah, because I started doing like one-man shows when I was in high school. And
shit.
she was the one who told me, she goes, I think you should move to LA after here. Because
wow.
she wanted to be an actress.
Mm-hmm.
And she just was really encouraged me. And she'd go and see my one-man shows like on the weekend and stuff.
But
like
you
that.
said
And
move to
she-
LA from where, though?
From Illinois.
From Illinois.
Southern
Sorry.
Illinois, though.
Southern
Like,
Illinois.
so Zoe's from Illinois.
Yeah, but his Illinois is different from your Illinois.
Totally different. It's like
I went to
Northern
college in
California.
Illinois. Though. It's college.
Illinois.
Yeah.
Like
yeah,
in
yeah.
there's
Illinois
Chicago.
is not your
College
Illinois.
is- yeah.
No,
it ain't the
dude.
same.
I grew up in a Cracker Barrel. That's
Yeah.
basically it's. If you've ever been to Cracker Barrel, that's what Southern Illinois is. A lot of Cracker Barrels. You know.
Could have made
what
some
it is.
jokes, but I
Yeah.
won't.
Yeah. Oh no, you can make it.
Yeah. I
I'm
grew
not
up
like
in-
those are my people.
Yeah.
You're a teacher.
Now, I grew up in the hood, but I went to an all-white high school because I played sports. And it was this dude named Mr. Kadowski.
Kadowski.
Yeah, real cool dude. Made sure I stayed in sports. But also, he just told me to use my imagination.
Yeah.
With everything I do, use my whatever I want, use your imagination. And I always did that. And he was really cool. And the security up there, too, because he protected me. So, yeah. Those two people.
I had a coach, Coach Hampton, in high school, and he was like the first person to tell me I was special, right? For some reason, when he said it, because he was the coolest guy, and he was only 25 years old, like, and he said I was special, and then because I went to a very challenging high school. My school is one of the higher academic schools in Southern California, but yeah, he said I was special, and I was like, for real? If you think I'm special, then I guess I'm special. Oh shit, then I'm special. And then from there on out, and he was a football coach. And in college, I had a professor that told me I could write. Like this whole time, I was because in high school I was top 100 and 200 in the quarter mile in Southern California. Right, I was pretty fast. I was a run fast, jump high kid. Right, like that's what I was. And the value was that, and there wasn't any value in any type of intellectualism until someone said, you're special. And I was like, holy shit, for real? All right, well, and that's what had, the impact on my life going forward.
Right on. So we actually have to jet, guys, but
Yes.
do you have anything that you want to say in case your students come across this podcast?
Yeah.
No,
Dude,
love you.
super quick. They always ask me, they're like, are you on Instagram? I'm like, no, and I don't think they're going to find me because my name is Matt Jones.
Yeah.
But like they've tried,
Well, like my
and
Instagram
that's
is like literally just classroom, motorcycles, I'm a biker, and music. That's it.
Okay.
You won't ever catch me doing like real shit on there. Like, I'm just it's PG-13.
Of course.
So yeah.
Awesome.
Last word. You were supposed to give a last word to your students if there's something.
Me?
Darn it.
What's 5 times 5? No, my kids this year have been absolutely great. I have nothing to say other than keep showing up.
Yeah.
Yeah, just love what you do. Love what you do.
Yeah. And I guess mine is you're special.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mine is stop sword fighting with the boom mics. That's basically it. So awesome. Well, guys, thank you so much for coming out.
Thank you. Clap for you.
Guys, we got to let you know.
Appreciate y'all. Thank you so much. Thank
This
you.
is our first one that we've done. So we're toying with the format a little bit with stand up because we've done that for a while, but bringing it together with the podcast and everything. So you guys help us to do the first one. So seriously, thank you so much for
Appreciate each
showing
and
up.
every
You
one of you.
guys are
Thank you so
awesome.
much.
Thank you. Thank you. Awesome.